Hello everyone again and welcome. Today we are going to be continuing with our R lessons and today we'll be looking at what we call pipes in R. For the last class we did look at something if we were to maybe calculate using the aggregate functions like we want to calculate the group mean where we're using that air quality data where we could like calculate the mean for wind speed or maybe temperature a group for the various months, which is always a great analysis to do. Today we are going to be looking at advanced methods. We can do that maybe if we want to convert maybe the wind speed, which in that data set was in miles per hour into meters per second. How can we do that? And then try to compute or maybe try to extract um, the uh, the aggregated mean just for those temperatures that are maybe for hotter days, temperatures that are greater than 80 degrees or so. So for first things first, I would say before we start this lesson, try to install this library. There are two ways we can do that. Either we can click here to install that library. We just type the library name, which is DPLYR, which is deploy library. We can install it. I've installed it already. Maybe, yeah, it's installing. So it has installed. That's one way we can do that. Remember, we can still do install dot packages. We pass in the name of that library, which is dp deploy um, ROI. We have already installed it, so it won't. It says specify library, blah blah. It's just successfully it has been installed already. So before we go on, remember when we install a library, we have to start calling that library, and we will say the library. It should come. We should run that library before we can start doing anything with it. As I did mention, we are going to be looking at what we call pipes in R. Uh, Pipes are operators that can let you improve your code readability, maybe reconstruct your code so that it can read from maybe left to right instead of inside out. We are going to see what I mean by inside out. Let's say I wanted maybe to go in. Let's just look at if I wanted to first of all convert, as I did mention, I want to convert that wind. We know the air quality data. We can view it before we continue with this. I say that air quality data. We can view this. We already saw this. This column, the wind speed. This column, this temperature is measured in miles per hour. But if I want something, I want to convert that temperature to maybe meters per second. There are two ways, meaning that first thing, I want to calculate the aggregated group mean for those temperatures that are greater than 80% for that the wind speed in meters per second. So the first thing I can try to cut out this air quality data. I will call it air quality 2. See, let's look at the base method before we go to pipes the pipes in R. We will do air quality. I want to first of all filter. Um, with this deploy library, you can filter, you can mutate. Mutate is like creating another column, as we are going to see as we move on. I'm going to do air quality. What do I want? I want temperatures that are greater than. We'll see that this is a little bit longer and not temperatures that are greater than 80. I can run this and I'm going to have that subset that I want. I need to convert that air column. So I'm going to do air quality of those temperatures I pass in. I want the column wind converted to meters per second. See, I'm going to run this. I take that air quality 2. I pass in that wind speed. Now to convert that to meters per second, I'm going to multiply that by 0.44704. And then I'm going to run this. And then one way we can do, let's see whether if I'm viewing that air quality 2, yeah, 2, let me just view this, which is just like a subset of that air quality. That is how you can do. We see that this wind speed is different from what we initially had just from that air quality. We see that the air quality initial data, the wind speed here was in miles per hour, but when we convert that, we see we multiply that value, it changes. Now, if we go back to our code, I want to calculate compute the wind speed for each month. We already saw how we could do that. I can use the aggregate function. When I've taken this subset of data, I will just do the wind. Now I will do theta for months, for those months, and then my data here will be what? The data here will be that subset that I cut for those temperatures greater than 80, which is, and then the function that I'm passing here is our normal function. What I'm doing here is for the what? Mean. Then I can run this. You see, we are still getting this, this group, the mean for this parameter, that's this column, wind speed, now in what? Meters per second instead of what? Before it was in miles per hour. This is a little bit longer if we want to go through that method. Remember, we can, instead of like getting this soft set, we can do something different. We can just do just a base way. We can use the aggregated function. We do win, right? We do win, we multiply it by 0.44704, and then we do theta. We run in that month, and then we are going to pass in the data. We are going to be passing in here will be that subset that we already had, which is this line of code, this subset that we had here, which will be this line of code, right? So I can just copy this here and paste it in here, which is the line of code, and then here, comma, my function will be equals to what? The mean. It is still going to perform the same thing. We are going to have the same thing, here and here, but a little bit, we see that this one is a little bit more formatted than what? Than this. You see, this column doesn't look nice, but we're gonna have the same answers. We see that the number of columns, the decimals here are a little bit, wayward, like just going to some high number of decimal places. Instead of doing this, if we want a very good way of doing this same calculation, we can use what we call pipes in R. Pipes in R, we are going to be using this to pipes in R are mostly like using, there are two symbols we can use. We can either use this symbol like the percentage sign and greater than, or we can use this, which is and then the greater than sign. Now I want to do the same task I perform here, but I want to do it using what? The notion of pipes in R. So for pipes in R, the first thing you need to do here, it is of this form. Let me just take this out and copy. Any pipe will be of this form. Any pipe in R will be of this form. It will be of this form. We have the data, we have the function we want to perform. We can have another function, and then we assign it to a variable. Remember, I said we are trying to look at maybe a great way we can read code from what? From left to right. You see, the way I assign this is different from the way we are doing this assignment on here. It's a little bit different because we are using pipes. Now, I want to perform this same task, like extracting hot days, converting that wind speed to meters per second, and then computing what the group means for that wind speed in meters per second. So here we are going to be using, I already called that library. First thing you need to do for make sure you run that library, because here we will be using two very common functions here. The first one will be what? Will be filter and what? And mutate. Mutate is when we want to create a new variable, like something like this. And then the filter will be enable us what? Instead of using this greater than sign, we are just going to just filter using that filter function, which comes with that library. So now I'm going to use pipes. I don't want to go, we can still go through it and then do the group by stuff here, but it's going to be something longer. You can go through it using that book we have been using. The book I did posted that link. So I'm going to do air quality. I don't want to do that soft set we have been doing. I said with pipes, we can use this symbol, or we can use this one. So I'm going to start with the second one, and I do this, the greater than sign. So what am I doing? I want to filter. So when you do this and hit the enter key, this cursor doesn't go right up to the end here. You see the cursor start here, meaning that you are continuing a code. So I'm going to first of all do what we call that filter function, which comes with, one thing I would like you to learn in R is this. Once you start typing filter, filter, it shows you the library, how it comes. The library is that library we just used. And then I'm going to just do, because I've called this data, look at, if I start typing temperature, it will simply give me that temperature, and I'll just do greater than what, 80. You see here, this code is a little bit advanced, but here we had to be doing, this vector format to extract, that column before we can continue. Now, when I'm done with that, the next thing I'm going to do what? I'm using another pipe, but here I want to convert this win speed that was in miles per hour to what? Meters per second. So now I'm going to use what we call a mutate function because it allowed me to create a new variable. So I'm going to do mutate. It comes up already showing that library name. What do I want? I'll create a new variable inside that data set, which it says what? Win multiplied by what? Multiplied by 0.44704. Now, when I'm done with that, I'm looking at the group, calculating the group, the mean for that win speed in meters per second. I want to group it by what? By the months. So what do? I'm going to do a group by. I'm grouping it by what? By month. I'm grouping it by month, continuing it. And then after that group by, I'm doing what? A summary. So this summary function, for that summary function you can do, I'm summarizing, I'm going to create a new variable here, and I'm going to call that variable mean win speed. And then I'm going to give it is equals to what? The mean of what? The new variable I created, which is win. Now look at, you see the way I created this, we have a function. The function we had, first function we had here was filter. The next function we had here was what? Mutate. We had another function which is what? Group by. We have another function which is what? Summarize. And then when we are done with that, we can now assign this variable, which is now reading from what? From left to right. And then we call it what? We assign a new variable here. We can call it port underscore win underscore what? Means. Then when I run this, you see it's running all of this. So if I call this variable that I've created now, you see what happens. You see that when I run all of this, let's go back. When I run all of this, see where the cursor is now here, showing that, okay, I'm done with all these pipes. So if I call hot underscore means, and then I run it, see what happens. I'm having, the same calculation, but you see that I have created a new column here, which is saying that what? And this is that new column, which the new column I created is this one in here under that summarize function. And this summarize function, we can do median. We can do anything. Let's say, and it's saying that is the mean win speed, right? And then we can see that for the month of May, it is formatted directly to 2 decimal places, which is very, very readable. If we go up to this one, look at the way it was. The formatting doesn't look nice, but when we use this mutate and all the pipes in arrow, it gives us, a good summary for whatever thing we are trying to do. So if I wanted to do median instead of the mean, I can do median in there. I see run this my pipe, and then I call, let me change here. Yeah, it doesn't matter. And then I run it here. You see that it is now giving me something. It's giving me the median instead of what? The mean. You can change this to anything. You can change this to the standard deviation, which is SD, and still run it. And then run back that. We are going to be seeing that we have like what? You see, we are having some missing values here. So that's why you can calculate that standard deviation for when we have missing values. So that is the downside of using these pipes, is that when you have missing values, you might not be able to handle these missing values in some cases, but it is a good way, to manage your code for someone to actually understand it way better, especially when it comes to what? Data manipulation, when it comes to data pre-processing and all the like, which is what every data analyst or data scientist you have to do. You have to, first of all, the main thing is not building models. The main thing is understanding the data, understanding the relationship that you can find within this data before you can build any model that you can do predictions. So one thing that we can do You can also use this a lot if you want to do maybe compute the mean, maybe we want to compute the group mean, group median, group standard deviation, and so on. One other library that I will recommend that you can go read about it is what we call this tidyverse library. Let me copy it in this library. You can try to look at it in that textbook. This library, try to read. It's also very nice because with this library you can do different things. You can even create chatbots and so on. We might look at it briefly, but that is not the main, one of the things we are looking at in this course. But maybe at the end, it will be something that I might look at. For the next thing that will be coming up for the next video, we are going to be seeing how we can import data. Basically we have been using data that comes with R. Let's say you have data in form of an Excel sheet, in form of an Excel file, in form of a CSV, which is a comma separated a table or something like that, data set. We are going to see all of that, how you can download that data from any website, maybe Kaggle, read in that data and do a lot of analysis with it in R. That was it for this lesson today, guys. Keep following for more tips, and thank you.